No, well,
I don't have any.
what you want is where we can hear them, but they can't hear us. You're not participating.
They're all muted. So they haven't done that yet. She hasn't called the door.
I don't know.
How about now? I see. Hello? Hello? I know. Well, we could try later. So just. Hello?
Take a bath.
Hello?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Oh, I come through. But
Hello? Hello? Hello?
It's just happening on our computer.
You want me to turn it on? Shall I go around?
You put yours on.
okay, this is a test. Here I am.
I'm gonna try.
Okay, here's me testing when I'm standing up here.
Testing. It's the same thing.
Hello.
Not sure, we gotta figure out how to turn.
Hello?
the Speaker.
Hello? Can anybody hear me online? Oh, Phil can hear me. Okay, there's no, we just have to speak loud.
That's good. I can hear you.
You can hear us? Okay, thanks, Phil.
Mhm.
I think we've like wonkied it together here. Okay, I'm gonna start the meeting, but we can speak into the microphone so that people on Zoom can hear us. But we need to talk loud in the room, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And Lindsay, you need to speak into the micro, no, not, actually, you don't need to speak into the mic.
Are we
Okay.
using your speaker on Zoom?
Well, you try, can everybody hear? Phil, can
You hear me?
I can just hear you and you're 10 by 10. I can hear you very well.
but that's
can't
because I
hear
speak
anybody else.
loud. Karen, yell into it.
Phil, can you hear me? Not Patty?
Yes, yes, about 5 by 5.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So we need to speak loudly into the microphones. He said 5 by 5 for you, 10 by 10 for me.
Right.
Well, that's gonna be hard, Karen. Okay, sorry for the delay. Thank you for being patient. I am calling the meeting to order at 5:19. Let the record show we have a quorum. Let the record also show that we are welcoming our new member. Cindy, welcome. Now officially part of the Parks and Rec Committee, and now all hell will break loose. First of all, we have oral communications for the public for any items not on the agenda.
Where is she on the agenda?
Anybody online? Anybody in the schoolroom? Okay, passing that. Next, we have approval of minutes from the last meeting. Karen?
Yeah, so, I think there was just a mistake where some of the meeting minutes from the previous meeting weren't eliminated. So, all of the old business, so, discuss parkland and recreational facility at B, C, G, and H were from the meeting prior
Yeah,
to the prior. These are from, these ones were discussed in the August meeting, not the September meeting.
so were they corrections to August or September?
Yeah, these were corrections that were made for the August meeting minutes that we approved. And then starting with oral communications, that's where we started.
Right.
So this just needs to come out because this is from August.
Those were, I know, but those were the corrections you wanted me to make for August. I just document them.
Okay, we approved those.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
okay. Well, they were approved as amended
Yes,
with these changes.
yes.
Okay,
Sorry, I didn't read it correctly. And then the only other thing I had is that we did discuss Cindy Rowe joining the committee for under committee membership.
We did discuss,
And so you said Carrie submitted her resignation, but we also discussed that Cindy had submitted her
oh,
application.
that's true, okay.
And I'm sorry, I misread this. I didn't realize. And
That's okay.
that was it.
Any other corrections to the minutes?
Six active members, all right.
What?
We have 6 members now.
We have 6 members now. We'd like more out there. We'd love more. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along. So I do want to mention that we're in a little bit of a time crunch today. There is a Conservation Committee meeting in this room at 7 p.m. So we're on the clock. So keep things brevity, which means I won't talk as much. So you're all in luck. And because of that, I want to make sure we agree on the agenda that we're going to go through. Obviously can't cover everything. Obviously, we're going to hit both items of new business, the proposal for the community playground and discussion of next game night. I think next we should probably hit Hawthorns because I would imagine, Karen, that that's the next kind of biggest. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
The Zots, we can always do postmortem later. And then we could probably go through and do a very quick rundown of the rest of the items. And I did add, I don't know why I forgot it, but I know we talked about this. I wanted to talk about the proposal to keep the pickleball nets out Monday through Friday. I have some feedback from Howard and Justin on that. I wanted to add that to the agenda. Okay. I don't know how to introduce you. You want to introduce yourself? Okay, you're probably gonna have to come up and talk into one of the microphones so that people from Zoom can hear you. I don't think that's working. Why don't you talk to the one over there by John? He won't bite. And if anybody's listening to the game, I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm recording it.
My name is Katie Mumford. I'm here with a very magical person, Olenka. She is the CEO and founder of the Magical Bridge Foundation. And we are here to propose building a magical bridge playground in Portola Valley where the current Little People's Playground is right now. So with that, we have a video to start out our presentation, and then we can speak a little more about the project in Portola Valley and answer any questions that you have.
You want to wrap up with any
Oh, yeah.
comments or anything?
Let's go for it. Yes.
Hey everyone, thank you for your kind attention. Thank you to Katie. And you may be thinking that what you saw in the video might be too begin to, you know, maybe different than what you would envision for Portola Valley, but of course we are very excited to welcome questions, comments. Magical Bridge really exists so that everybody really does have a sense of outdoor classroom. We are very excited about creating smaller spaces. We've done a beautiful playground and within the Curiosity side, as well as when they play that schools. One of the hallmarks about Magical incorporates the needs of everyone, not just what's legally sort of checking in a box, which is all of our playground staff do, that are acceptable, but what they don't consider are families that have some other autism, which is now 134. They don't consider our older adults that also join the so in short, we really see the Magical Bridge being gathering space where the magic happens. So each of our projects we welcome it and thrilled with Katie and her family and friendships, the idea for this space, and love to see that start to conversations with your support.
Yes, just to piggyback again, thank you for having us and for considering endorsing this project for our town. I know it's very important to my family having a 4.5-year-old on the autism spectrum and coming to this playground. You know, my niece is now in 4th grade, she's almost 10. And when my youngest, you know, when we found out that she had special needs, it really turned me off to even wanting to go to playgrounds because I didn't know if she was going to be able to, you know, access the monkey bars or climb or want to go down the slides. So I think that the really important thing is that we think of this in a design way, which Magical Bridge has already figured out over the years. And I would love to, you know, show anyone a Magical Bridge playground. I have a link to it as well. But when I go to Magical Bridge with all 3 of my children, it's really amazing just how much more relaxed I am, how I see more families, my kids meet kids that are, you know, of all abilities. And it's just a really, really special thing that I would love to create in our town. Enclosed in the brochures are a few just small notes of support from some families that I know who also have kids. You'll see a letter in there from my father-in-law, John Mumford, and also my mother-in-law, Chris Mumford, are going to help, you know, get this project off the ground financially. So really, I think our goal tonight is to, again, have this endorsed by the Parks and Recreation Committee and just have your guidance on what the next steps are and kind of what the process is. And again, any questions, please, we're here to answer anything.
Space that we have, does that suit you? I mean, and is there some place that we can go to see something that's backside? Because a lot of us here.
So we think the size is similar to what we did inside of Curiosity, which is in San Mateo. And again, I think we could work within the space here that we have certain.
Magical Bridge is designed with, I mean, the goal is to have natural shade, a really, you know, beautiful natural feel. And I think if you, like you were saying, Palo Alto, it's big, you know, it's maybe a little brighter than the playground here now. And I think from just talks that we've had, that's important for us to feel like our playground in Portola Valley is suited to Portola Valley, and Magical Bridge is willing to go over, work with design concepts and colors in order to make that happen. But definitely, keeping the natural shade, and we have quite a bit of that where the playground is currently. So I think we can make a really beautiful space.
So what would be the steps that would, go forward? What would happen next if, I mean, not within our own, like, town, we would obviously, if we choose to endorse this, it would have to go to the town council. So there are steps within, but then, what does Magical Bridge do? What does the community need to do?
So we're with the support of John and with support of Katie's community enthusiasm. The next module step would be that once we do receive the endorsement from your leadership team, as well as then going into city council's approval, Magical Bridge then really goes to what we call deep and wide into the community for their feedback, making sure that we reflect everyone's voices and their preferences, and it ranges from understanding the physical, the social needs, color palettes and all that comes into play as well. And then ultimately, what we do is work with our design team to then come back to city council with that information, as well as a proposed design that reflects what we've heard, and that also comes with budget, so that you, the city council, can know what the cost is. And then certainly Magical Bridge has also been very successful in activating private funding. So what typically will happen is those that are supportive of a project like this, once they start to see what it might look like, what it might cost, and then it could be private public partnership, or those conversations we can have later. But we don't want to, go before the steps that are appropriate. But at this time, since Katie said she was kind enough to get some comments from friends and people that she knows, but we certainly would enjoy getting to know other families' requirements.
Because it's the order.
Much of the cost actually surprises what we call sort of site preparations, and the actual include. I mean, there is a range too. It could be, we use Barbara Butler for a lot of our projects. But I would say just really off the top of my head, I think that would be a project that would be doable for under $1.5 million.
Following on that question, what is needed for maintenance? I mean, if you had the musical, interplay thing going on and that breaks, you need to have someone there. Or I noticed that there were volunteers helping. Obviously that may not be something we have here, but you've got to build the thing, right? Plan and build, but then you've got to maintain it. So give us some ideas about that.
Well, so I think those are great questions. I think also in a space here and with your community, we will discuss whether there is a need or interest or size for that kind of a harbor. I mean, we certainly we can't take everything that we typically would do for an acre and a half or 2 acres and bring it here. So we would sort of determine the best play value for the space. And so maybe the laser harbor isn't something that we bring here, but maybe there are other play elements. And then as far as the maintenance goes, yes, certainly that is a conversation with the city, because it is a city maintained space. But I would say that the volunteers and the kindness ambassadors are hallmarks of a Magical Bridge. And I think what you'll find is that as we've done with our projects is there are many people in the community that want to do something that is building community relations, and as we've all read, the Surgeon General has deemed that the older adults within their communities, for instance, Redwood City, are kindness ambassadors and retired teachers for the most part. And so there will be some form of what we call kindness ambassadors, and they might be teenagers, they might be told your adults, but hopefully you'll welcome them and they'll make the space even more magical. This young lady had a question. Did you have a question or comment?
Wait, we have to wait for the committee questions before we go to the public.
Just to piggyback on that, because a huge part of this figure out, it's not just so that my daughter has this to fix. This is about really building our community, and I know teacher Kara O'Connell does an amazing job at Carolina Preschool, where Joni goes now with her summer program. She invites kids that are older coming back, and my kids don't want to go to any other camp. I mean, my kids are like, Mom, we want to go to Kara's camp, because they want to help little kids. They want to be part of that community. And so I see that also with AYSO. I'm on the board for AYSO in Portola Valley, and coaching the kids out there on a Saturday. We have older kids, younger kids wanting to join my practice every Monday. It's really, kids want to be connected. They want to help each other. And in the world that we live in today, and are raising kids in this kind of technology bubble, to have a playground that kids can come together, and we can have programs for the kids to do outreach in their communities. And I think it's really important. And that's really what we're trying to build here, is a space that allows that to happen in Portola Valley.
Any other questions from the committee?
Okay, sorry. Maybe come on Friday.
So at the moment, I wouldn't be able to give you a precise answer, but I will say that, I mean, it really, if you consider that this is a space that will be serving many families, and people will be utilizing and enjoying the space more than your average sort of typical playground. The value is certainly going to be clear soon, but I do also know that the county, San Diego County, is very enthusiastic about Magical Bridge spaces. So once this receives your green light and its attraction, there may be some great opportunities to receive assistance from the county, as well as local leadership that values the programs and the projects that we bring to the community. So I would say bless, don't worry, because that's not a good thing to say, but we have been very effective in activating money that is on city, getting there's various ways that we can do it through either private donations, foundations, and other groups to support these types of projects. So maybe the first few steps to see what it might cost, because to be fair, we wouldn't be able to know that until we do our community outreach, as well as meeting with the council. Hearing their views as well. So a couple of unknowns, but we can even imagine it's doable.
That needs to be a couple of examples here. So first of all, 15 years ago, we renovated the town center. It was all done with prior permissions and areas put in. That was the entire campus, right? So it's possible, that another example, a little more recently, the private store 5 and 7 yesterday was at Ford Field. We renovated it across $500,000. We got $250,000 from government. Well, private donations. It was locally. So it followed fundraising. It's why go.
Well, yeah, it's very, very generous kickstart, really. Great job.
Yeah, I think, I've worked with the Portola Valley School Foundation. I did our first fundraiser at Carolina Preschool last year. And I think I think that when we really put our kids first and we propose these things, Ford Field is a perfect example, right? The town center, people will step up in our community. And I know, our family has stepped up to support this project and to, back that up. I have, other families in mind that I know also want to support it. So I'm willing to do a lot of that work. I think a big piece of this is I want the committee to know I am not saying this is what we want, let's do it. I really want to help in any way I can, and I think a big piece of that will be fundraising. And I want to do that.
That's what.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of fundraising. Yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? Okay, I'll open it to the public now. Ken, did you have something? You might need to come up to a
Yeah.
microphone or I'll. I don't think that's working, but is it working?
Would you like to use the-
Here, I'll sit here.
So, I actually have really enjoyed seeing the magical playground in Mountain View Mitchell Park. And so it's something I'm familiar with. As you thought about it, you mentioned specifically the location here in town center, and while there definitely are some elements that make that a desired location, I'm wondering if there has been thought about other locations that may be beneficial. I don't know where we are in the lifespan of the current park, and it's already on plans, needing some updating, or if it's relatively new, I don't actually know that. But I'd just be interested in hearing about where the thinking is going.
That's a great question. So the current playground that we have, I know, my oldest daughter, Elsie, who's 10 now, when she was a toddler and I bring her down, we had a little water feature that's been probably broken for the last 6 or 7 years. There's certain things that, when I'm down there with a kid, they can get hurt on. I called the ambulance once where a kid was caught in this corkscrew. There's things that are definitely outdated in the structure. I think the structure itself is about 20 years old.
15, something like that.
Yeah. 2008, okay, yeah. So it's, it's sturdy, it's still living, it's there, but I think that when we talk about inclusive playgrounds and spaces for our community, we have, I think, one of the most fun farmers markets here on Thursday night. And it's really great when you have kids who are, neurotypical, you can go get your dinner there and then go sit outside. But if you're someone, who has a child with special needs, it really makes it more difficult to do that because there's not I have to be in the playground watching my daughter to make sure that she's safe, to make sure that she knows I'm right there. So the way that, and Elena can speak more to this, but there's really a whole initiative of inclusive playground design. It's community centric that I think that our town can do a much better job at, and that's why we're here to make that happen because our community needs that.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think Katie hit every point spot on, and it is really about a community location. It's easy to get to, brings people together, and is a hub, a community hub. So it's an extension of a natural community hub. But that said, during our outreach, and we just did a project where we thought we would do it in one location, and after some change. So we're also open to suggestions, but that is the initial space in general. It's a lot.
Yeah, land in Portola Valley, as we all know, is pretty scarce. So solving for the current location would probably be, alpha A, but certainly.
Yeah, we have sports, happening right there too. You have a kid playing baseball, you have the other kid at the playground. It's kind of the natural spot. But yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
Any other questions from the public? On Asan, we have a question online.
Yeah, Thank you. Yeah, my name is Hassan. I actually live in Woodside, but my children, I have a 5 and a 6-year-old. We play at the park all the time in the playground. I just wanted to voice my very strong support for this idea. I think the first time my wife told me about a magical bridge a few years ago, it kind of clicked like, oh, this is how playgrounds always should have been designed, right? Having children who are already somewhat, identified as different or whatever, be unable to use a playground is just heartbreaking. So I strongly support the plan. I know it was a long steps to go. I'm certain Katie and team will push it forward nicely, but I just wanted to, voice my support from a neighboring town, but from a family that does use the park a lot. And I think, having the ability for all types of children to interact with each other is just fantastic. My kids come home with new friends every time they go to the playground, even though they met these kids once. So yeah, I think it'd be a huge improvement and definitely a great community space. Thank you for your time.
Did you pay? No, I won't say that. No, thank you, Hassan. We appreciate the comments.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. Not gonna say that. Okay, any other questions from the public? Okay, and bringing it back to the committee. Any other questions or comments?
So really have question in the community. Why would vote on something? We would be get a sense of how the community will feel.
Would that be a question for Katie and?
Can I answer that? So that, I think with your permission, I think where we are with this incredibly generous community gift is that it allows us all to activate the ability to reach out to the community. Obviously, we're not going to be doing anything, any plans until there's community input that we share with all of you, as well as those details. So
I think John is actually referring to even before that the committee wants to hear more, get public opinion from other folks before we would move forward and with the project and get community input on the design. Is that right, John? Is that what you were thinking?
The whole process of what that's thing improve or move forward. These, I mean, even step before you be able to do fundraising, you have to get approval for that. Right? And so that's going to be approved by the council. They will approve that. Some extent. So we've done that before. And even when we talk about pickleball courts, right? We kind of do outreach to figure out, right? And so the question is just, do we want to try to figure out how to do that within not to your organization, perhaps to kind of neighborhood, but however we can involve. To put it out, even on the four out of the four, sometimes very active towards communities.
Well, maybe ask Magical Bridge about what would be their proposal to get maybe that next tier of information without diving into the deep end, so to speak.
So I guess a question that because I'm happy to work on community outreach. What is there a number or a typical percentage of the community that you'd like to reach in that outreach? If we're talking, basic signatures or whatever that may be, what's a number that the council would like to see?
Well, I don't know if there's a number because it'd be impossible for you to, poll 100% of the community.
Right.
If you do a survey, you're going to get the people that feel strongly before or against, right? Does the committee have any feel for that? Lindsay, go ahead.
We have a Halloween party, huh? We have a Halloween party in town.
No.
Okay, well, let's don't do that.
Appreciate your questions because it's thoughtful and about the project that you certainly don't want to take on until you have more of the details. But the way we work with other communities, certainly there is this, nothing is announced as a project, but it's just what we call sort of information gathering. And that can happen by way of online. There could be presence at a farmer's market, or even we could be, Katie or Katie could be yourself at a table. So you're saying, here's what we're considering. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And there could be information available when it comes in front of city council that is publicized, and then people are made aware that that's being discussed. So there's many points of reference that if what I hear you saying is you'd rather it not be done with the foundation's involvement, but perhaps with more of a neutral lens, so it feels like it's coming from your community. We're supporting, obviously we're supporting Kate because it's wonderful, and her family has sort of created that first sort of financial gift in a way that gives people the confidence that this is something that some community members are very involved with or interested in. So however you would like to proceed, but we have many ways that we gather the community input because that is really important to us, and we'd like to reach out to people that may not go on a Zoom call or people that don't have technology.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's a
But could you parse it out? So what I think what you're hearing from the committee is we're interested. But as with anything, like John brought up pickleball, you know, we had a room full of pickleball people, you know, screaming at us. So, you know, it was obvious that there was support. Is there some way that you can parse out what your next phase would look like so that you could potentially come back with some level of community engagement and or interest, not solving for a number, because I don't think that's as important, but I think it's just some feedback.
Yeah. We just want to go well. They would say that was a whole lot of people.
Yeah, correct, yes. So, yes, I'm happy to do that. I'm well connected, at, you know, the preschools, the playground, soccer, Alpine Little League. I can go to the schools, I can go to the farmer's market. And that's kind of, I mean, I can go door to door. I'm happy to do that as well. So.
And maybe even is there information from your other communities where you've built some that, you know, not every community is alike, but can we think about, well, how did Palo Alto go about this? What did, you know, how did they make a decision in terms of what was the engagement in their community, or Sunnyvale or some of these other areas, just borrowing from what you've already got?
So we actually, yeah, so we're very delighted that each community has reached out to us at the moment. We are quite overextended in terms of the communities that are reaching out to Magic Bridge, which is a wonderful problem. So when Katie came to us, we are absolutely thrilled. I mean, I think we've been around long enough that we have a lot of your residents that drive down to a Magical Bridge. So we definitely welcome the outreach opportunities. We want to hear from everyone. We want to hear from your older adults, younger families. Obviously, it's not a place for one group or another. It's not a place for families with disabilities, but really for everyone. It reflects your community. And at the moment, this playground doesn't serve a lot of people in the community, and many playgrounds, unfortunately, don't. So we are, with your, I guess, what I'm hearing, if I'm correct, is that you're allowing us to move ahead with some community outreach and coming back to you with some information that would provide you with at least more of insight about what your community is indeed interested in, and maybe getting some specifics around that. If we can put together
Karen's itching to say something here.
Yes.
Well, so first of all, I think it's a fabulous idea. I'm very supportive of having an inclusive playground like this. One question I do have, and Patty, maybe you can get information, is when we built the playground, there's got to be some sort of lifespan that was associated with it. I mean, anything that you build like that, you've got to be planning for replacing it or whatnot. So I would be interested in knowing if the town had a plan for how long that playground was there, because that may help us make the decision as well.
We did that, right?
Yeah, we know, yeah.
We just need to ask Alex.
John's got connections there, so he can,
If one of you can do that, I think it would be good information.
And I remember the part of the deal, it was 50 years, and people came and said, you know, just was tired.
well, Howard was around. Howard could tell us.
We'll ask, I doubt the field that was, that we would do it for that reason. I think this is probably just so that we can have a difference. Playground on there, but we'll ask.
But if indeed the playground was supposed to last 20 years, and we're coming up on 20 years, it may make the decision easier, that's all. It's just one more data point.
Yeah, I actually think what at least I feel we need is a little simpler. All that needs. But what the way that we have done it, it's just simply putting it out to the community, very clear. I know it's on the agenda here, the only people that will be. And what we've done is put it out very clearly to people and the whole community to say, this is going to be presented, right? We want to give reference now, we can't make it send it to us, we will send it to, right? And I think you'll get enough responses. And take it and say, we feel like we don't not get enough. There's been a few people who have other ideas to say, but it was all a lot of score here. After that, it's more the outreach, probably more abundance.
Yeah. So maybe help manage that, or would these be comments that you'd like to feel they would come directly to you? You can certainly activate through any number of ways. Would your group like to be part of the receiving end of those communications, or shall we gather that and present it to you?
I looks like here is much more just the people doing things, right? It would be for me and you sending something out, right? And we have to support that.
Well, I was gonna say, I'd certainly be myself supportive of language that said you presented to the Parks and Rec Committee and that we are
Seeking
feedback and that we will engage at our next meeting or something like that. I mean,
Give a bunch of background on email. Or whatever, say, overview. You feel strongly about it, you could, but encourage whatever you want to encourage on that first.
Well, no, it's not your radar, you have been made aware, nothing's happening until we get the community.
Is it sufficient if I use like, I mean, I know different ages in our community. I just think off the top of my head and, great way to do it is the PDSU directory. I have also then like, parents of friends and right.
We do any role that gets some for us, and you're gonna really want to do it, this is at the town house.
Yeah.
That's when you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, I really need to wrap up this agenda item, so we need to move on.
Thank you. So, yeah, so I guess I can gather that community feedback and then we can present at the next meeting that.
We were, November meeting is the week of Thanksgiving, and then we get to the holidays, so let's you and I talk about that. Cam, did you have something quick you wanted to say?
Just two things. One is one of my past lives was in something. And when you do qualitative research, which is what you're really asking for, I would be very mindful that you leave it as open-ended as possible. both so that you get not just a like led response to a question, but there may be some very interesting opportunities and overlaps with other programs that are happening in the community. I know that some have engaged in working with the school districts for like the mathematics and physics programs. So I would just be cautious, be mindful of that. And if you're not already aware of the first PV forum is a resource that unfortunately.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I just want to end, sorry, Patty, by saying, Magical Bridge Foundation is sought after all across the world now. And when Olenka was kind enough to respond to my email, it was really just like it's a huge blessing. And I am so passionate about this. And I want to say thank you for you, because to miss an opportunity like this would be really, really sad. So I'll do goodbye, you guys. I'll make it happen. All right. Yeah. One magical girl. So
You're the face in the video. You're the popular one. Thank you very much, both of you. Really appreciate you coming in. Great idea. Okay. Okay, next item of new business is discussion for next game night.
Okay,
Karen and John, take it away.
John and I have discussed dates, and we are recommending that we do another trivia night because it was highly successful. And the proposed date that we have is February 10th, 2023. That's a Saturday night.
2024.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 2024. I thought you meant February 24th. Yes, February 10th, 2024, from 6 to 10 p.m. Basically the same format as before, and the town hall or the community center is available. I've checked into that. And the one thing I do need to know is a budget. We had a budget last year of 2,000. We spent slightly below that. And quite honestly, we could probably spend less this time because we know more. What do you think, John?
But we could also charge entrance fee too.
Last time, we were purposely not saying we were gonna have like beer and wine and all this stuff. In part because we didn't want people to just go, oh, there's gonna be free beer. Of course, we're not, right? That's what a lot of people welcome. And so I think either we should, one way to save money is to have it more bring your own. And if we thought we needed to save money. But if not, then I thought it was good the way it was, frankly.
We had a lot of stuff left over though. I mean, I think we could scale back on the food. People brought their own water. I
They
mean,
didn't know.
We asked for donations, and I think we got 450.
400 or something, yeah, almost $500.
450 around.
72 cents.
So we have, okay, hold on. Yeah, discussion is still in the committee.
Yeah, does anyone have any other questions?
That's the night before the Super Bowl, right?
Yes, I don't know if it's good or bad. My thought for that is that at least, I think some people are in town, they don't necessarily.
But some people go skiing that day because nobody's on the slopes too.
That's fine.
They're in Tahoe. Anyway, whatever. I don't think you can pick a good date. Yeah, you're not going to find a perfect date. Cam, did you have a question? Trivia night.
Trivia night.
Jeez.
It's a blast. You should come.
We call it game night because we were thinking we would do something different. Other things, but it was very popular. Right, the way you did it, and so that's what we're doing.
And it's easy to do, and everybody can do it. But yeah, we've been. I know. Okay, I'm game. Budget. I know we're under budget for the year, but that doesn't mean we should go out and spend it. If we said like $1,000,
I would go 1,500 because we did banners and some, I don't want to,
but I've still got the banners. All we gotta do is we could just change the dates.
okay.
Karen, let the record show that Karen didn't like that idea.
Yeah, we'll work on spending. Yeah,
Well, I'll have to run it by Sarah, so.
okay.
So the proposal is 1,500.
We spent about, I believe it was around
1,800, but then we got donations of about 450.
Right.
So,
Maybe
okay, let me ask for 1,500 and we'll see where we'll go. Okay, anything else you need?
Not at this point.
Okay. Closing out we're closing out on new business then. Okay, let's go to Hawthorne's because I think that's the next most time critical thing. Karen, would you agree on that?
Yeah.
Committee, would you agree on that?
Okay, do you want to pull up
Oh,
that?
yeah. What would you like? What would you like?
I guess I can do it if you want me to share my
Yeah.
screen.
Can I give you a share?
Okay, so just to give everybody an update, the public access working group meeting is this Thursday, the 26th at 6 p.m. And last night, late yesterday afternoon, the meeting agenda packet came out with a concept for the trail that would be there, as well as some proposed parking sites. BPTS and Trails and Paths have both had special meetings regarding their preferences and concerns for Hawthorne's, and I can cover those. And then we have an ad hoc committee, which is a non-Brown Act committee. And that committee has been focused on trying to get make residents aware of the project, as well as get them to engage, go to the meeting, submit comments, things like that. So real quickly, the one thing to note is that the entire property is, I think, 79 acres, but MidPen has turned this into two projects. They've split off what they call the historic complex, which is on the Los Trancos side, and that's about 13 acres. And so the proposal that they're looking at is for the other 66 acres. BPTS, well, first of all, Trails and Paths has, and the town requested this, I believe, in 2014, is asking for modifications to the Alpine Trail so that it can be a safe routes to school and multi-use. These are all letters getting submitted. The trail, they would like to be multi-use, and then after that's decided to explore options for dedicated use trails. And also in the general plan, there is a map that shows trails on Hawthorne's that connect to Portola Valley Trail. So they're requesting interconnectivity. Those are things that will be comments sent in and were agreed on. BPTS, one of the things that was noted is that the traffic volume study that they're using is from 2019. And we think that there have been a lot of changes since 2019, whether with the Alpine Inn or COVID may change traffic patterns for Alpine Hills, increasing membership, things like that. So they're asking for an updated traffic study to really understand that area. Also to adhere to the general plan in the scenic corridor of Alpine Road. And because they're not reviewing the historic complex, the access points are along Alpine Road. And the request is to actually also keep under consideration an access point on the Los Trancos side. Also, as far as parking is concerned, the preference is for no overspill into the neighboring streets and to have safe trail crossings. So where the ad hoc committee is at this point in time, there's really a focus on the parking, the access, the parking, and the trails. And so the ad hoc committee is submitting a letter and with two big asks, which are really getting an updated traffic study, because we think that's very important and moving forward. And really to take a holistic approach and include the Los Trancos Historic Complex side in the overall planning. So even though it may not get done at the same time, it's in the plan, so we know what would be done when. So I'm going to just show you, if I can pull it up, some maps, and I have, well, you'll be able to see them on there.
Want me to try and see if I can find it? Or,
I've got this one here. Oh, I'm not on Zoom anymore. Wait a second. Hang on, share screen. Okay.
big.
All right, I have, this is in the agenda packet, but this is the proposed trail in the agenda packet, and I have handouts for you guys, but this is what's on the screen as well. So you can see it's one trail right now, and the Alpine Road Trail is shown separately, that something would be done there. That's essentially the trail. And in the packet, there are videos of someone walking around in those areas. So video 1 through 5, plus a couple photos. The trail is about 1.4 miles long. Okay. The next thing I want to show you, so there's that, is there was a transportation study, parking demand analysis done. And the basic analysis showed that the parking demand, according to this analysis, could be anywhere from 25 to 68 spots, although it could be as high as 97 if you look up higher, but you'd have to read this in great detail. The proposal that they're putting on the table, they have 4 different proposals. Now I have to make my screen smaller because these are all different size. Okay. If everyone can see this, there's 2 entry points along Alpine Road. One is what they call the east entry, which is basically almost across from closer to Nathhorst, across the street than Hillbrook. And the other one is the existing entrance that goes to the house where the ranger lives. And you can see that they're looking at some parking areas in that over here where my cursor is, this parking area option 4 up in the upper right, as well as driving in a ways and then not having the parking visible from the road. So they're presenting 4 options on Thursday night. Option 1 here is you come in the same road that's there, and then it goes on from there. You can take a brief look, but everybody can look at this packet. So those are the things that are really happening on Thursday night. And members of the public are welcome to speak. And as I said, BPTS, Trails and Paths, and the Ad Hoc Committee are submitting those recommendations at this point in time.
So there's really nothing they're covering Thursday night that is, interest is a strong word, particularly related to Parks and Rec.
Well, no, okay. And I would ask folks, we talked about really the thing that seems to be Parks and Rec related is dog access, because we've been trying to find a dog park. Trails and Paths is recommending a multi-use trail. And I think with just one trail, I think that they're recommending that dogs can be on leash, but with just one trail, it's pretty hard to have an off-leash dog trail. So I don't, I'm opening it up if from a Parks and Rec lens, we see any other issues for this meeting this Thursday. And then on December 16th, there'll be a site walk with the latest revision of the proposal.
But they're not going to decide. They are not going to make a decision on trail usage Thursday night per se. They may take comments and they may take input, but no.
You know what, I don't know the answer to that. Looking at this presentation, it doesn't look like, other than there can be comments about should there be more than one trail, should there be loops and all of that, but I don't know if they're gonna, how deep it's gonna go.
Okay.
I mean, I'll check the agenda again.
I did a brief review and I didn't.
I didn't
anything.
see it very specifically in there.
That seems like a conversation that's further down the line potentially. Then, I mean, parking is pretty basic. I would think you need to figure that out pretty soon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And, you know, again, here's the proposed trail.
Yeah, I think the good thing, I mean, Karen has done just an excellent job of leading the ad hoc committee for Portola Valley. So thank you, Karen, for doing that. And really getting a lot of committees involved that weren't even aware of it before the ad hoc committee started engaging them. And in particular, Trails and Paths and BPTS have gotten very involved and providing feedback, as well as some of the other committees. So good job, I think, in starting to get Portola Valley engaged, because it's going to be very important. Anything you need from Parks and Rec, or is this just
I don't
awareness at this point?
I think it's, you know, making people aware the project is going on. This meeting on Thursday that you can attend via Zoom and comment. This is the opportunity is now for making your commenting and giving your feedback. And then this December 16th is a site visit, and then they hope on February 29th of 2024 that they would have a final plan for that area.
And we did a survey, right? The ad hoc committee did. We tried to solicit feedback. Was there anything that came out of that
So it was a very short time span, and we did get slightly over 30 responses, but it's not, the sample size was very skewed towards the equestrian community, shall we say. So we can't, it was really good feedback, and what we liked is the fact that every issue that was brought up, save putting an ultimate frisbee disc golf course on there, had been thought of by all the committees. So the issues that came back from the residents were all things that we were aware of. So that was validating from that standpoint.
ultimate frisbee?
What else is it besides trails and parks? Anything else planned for?
They're talking about an interpretive center, maybe interpretive trail, interpretive something, I thought, for kids, or
There's they want it to be inclusive, but in the reading in the packet, I know that nature and science would love an interpretive trail. But that, I don't believe that that's been discussed.
Interpretive trail.
you know, like plants, and this is what grows here, and yeah, you know, like botany gardens.
But no, the conservation easement limits a lot of what activity can go on there.
When you say multi-use, that means paved, right?
No, that means, it could be hard dirt, but
Do we know?
we don't know, but in the conservation easement, again, if you read let me see what I have in here. There's pretty strict about what kinds of upgrades can be made to the land.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think Trails and Paths even recommended that the parking lot be sodded or dirt or gravel, not asphalt.
There can be a pit toilet. And I think it would be down, on what I read, and don't quote me on it, but it would be down near the entrance to the park, not up on the top. Similar to Windy Hill.
Any other questions from the committee?
So, we have to go, well, it's not flush toilets, but it's contained, it's more than a porta potty.
Yeah, I don't think they've gotten into the exact design of the toilet, but it would, my understanding is it can't be, there can be no plumbing, no electricity, none of that. So it's gotta be some sort of natural compost kind of toilet.
Other questions from the committee? Okay, I'm going to open it up to the comments from the public right now. Questions? Cam?
You had mentioned that there was discussion in terms of dogs, in terms of dogs on leash, dog park. Even just kind of a sense of where we stand on that. And what has been discussed and is being discussed?
Do you mean for Hawthorns or do you mean?
But I'm also actually interested in general.
Well, there's people on both sides of the road for dogs. I think this is me looking at the survey responses, which are not statistically significant. But I think that dogs on leash is fine with almost everybody. Dogs off leash, you either love it or you hate it. And I think when you look at it being one trail, it would have, my personal opinion is it can't happen on one trail. So that's very limiting right there. We're going to go into the dog park situation for Portola Valley maybe very quickly. But I would be happy to chat with you after because there's been a lot of work done and we basically can't find a site in Portola Valley for a number of different reasons. And I'm happy to share those with you. Thanks.
Caroline, go ahead.
Great, thank you very much. I wanted to thank Karen for giving a wonderful summary of the conclusions for PPDS. So I'm a member there too. We're really concerned. We don't want to we want to make sure that it doesn't end up like Windy Hill because especially the residents around there are still suffering from overflow parking during the weekend. So therefore, we want to make sure, and we're still working on it, that the parking area is well into the open space and not too close to our trails and not too close to Alpine Road. We want to emphasize our scenic corridors that's why we also wanted a traffic study because we felt like there's so much development that has occurred in the last 5 years. They all had a traffic study and each of them said that none of them would be, or that the impact was less than significant. But then when you put them all together, it has had a negative impact on our scenic corridors and especially, you know how busy it is. It's at the intersection of Nathorst Triangle and that's where we all interconnect to go to several parts of Portola Valley. We had also requested to, besides the traffic study, to do it with simulations. So we have a real, a better sense of what that all would be. But yeah, if you guys can help us with the communication, that would be great. I think we all should submit public comments and together, so they have an idea what the residents want. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Any other comments? Okay, bring it back to the committee. Any questions for Karen? Anybody else? Yeah, I would encourage people to dial in and listen and, you know, if you have a comment, they are allowing public comments, so.
Or if you want to submit it in writing, I posted on the forum the place to go for that. I did that yesterday at about 5:30, along with the meeting agenda and such.
Okay, stay tuned.
There's going to be discussion about that because there is there is a request to change the fencing for safe routes to school, but also there's a request to maybe put some access points in there for pedestrians and bicycles. So there might be, you know, the car entrance, but there could be some other ones. So I think the fencing is yet to come, the discussion about it. I don't know if that will happen at this meeting because there's going to be a lot of conversations about the trail and the parking lot and the.
We had Karen on, but I see she's not here anymore. Okay, any other comments on this agenda item? Thank you again, Karen. Really appreciate it. Your time on that. Okay, maybe we can work through some of these. We've got probably about 20 minutes left. I do want to bring up the pickleball nets because I know we brought that up last time as a proposal. I apologize for putting that. Howard did get back to me. He and Justin had a conversation about this. And he had some questions, and maybe what I might do is I'll let the committee know what those questions are. And maybe Cindy and I can work on them offline unless the committee has some comments. He said, so he reiterated that the reason that we bought the nets that are portable is to make them portable. And that, you know, leaving them out Monday through Friday without putting them away, in a sense, creates a dedicated pickleball court, which is not what we got approval to do. So he was just questioning whether we're creating what we wanted in the first place and not using the portable nets for what they were intended. I think it's a valid question. So I think we need to come up with a comment or our thoughts about that.
They can be rolled away.
Yeah, it may not be new, but it wasn't what was approved, for lack of a better word.
We approved it when pickleball.
Court. But we have it Monday through Friday all day.
Yeah, we've already got it.
Yeah.
Court one is pickleball.
It is pickleball. I mean, that's our priority time. So it's like today, I take them out from 9 to 11 away. Somebody comes and they do the ball machine, they bring it 1 at 3 o'clock, they bring them all back out, take them all back. Just back and forth,
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a day.
But I think Karen's point, I mean,
What I'm saying is because it is a dedicated pickleball court, it could be up during that to answer that question.
it could be, yeah.
And if tennis players came, they could move them.
Well, tennis players technically can't reserve court one Monday through Friday anyway.
Use it if nobody can.
Well, they could, yes. They could roll them away, yes.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah, just he's saying, maybe we should run it through Sarah or the council just to make sure. But I think we need to come up with a response before we do that. And then a trial, I did talk to him about a trial period. He liked that idea. He said that made sense. He did say that a trial period in the winter may not get all the results it would at spring and summer. I guess, whatever. And then he also asked, what about Corte Madera School in the spring? But I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, I think his biggest issue was, they were meant to be portable, not meant to be dedicated. But I think we can come back with the way we've set up the reservation system. By default, it is a dedicated court during the week anyway. Yeah,
So it's not-
yeah.
It's just, affordable. They want to use them, and just tell them where to put it. Well, all. It's rare.
Yeah, I think, he agreed with us on the wear and tear. I mean, they are getting a lot of wear and tear. And, you know, it was his recommendation to buy the lighter nets, not the industrial ones as well. So,
This is related but separate. I thought we were having a discussion of changing court 3 as well with the sports court or whatever. No?
we were.
Yeah. Well, I've been sure.
Well, we discussed, this is what I recall. We discussed that on the basketball court is actually larger than a regular basketball court size, and half court was just fine. And that we were considering making court 3 a tennis court. Although I don't know if you can do that with a net up there in a half court basketball, so maybe it has to be for pickleball. And
No, we were thinking tennis court.
I know,
It would be
but
better with tennis.
we were talking about saying this out loud, if you have a tennis net up.
They can
it might
still play
make
half court.
court basketball more good. It's not.
Actually, it makes it better because the ball doesn't roll away. So now that I'm remembering, I think we decided to table the court 3 discussion to when we thought we might come back with another proposal for all 3 courts, like a truly dedicated pickleball court. I could be wrong on that. You guys let me know. I mean, I can still put it back on the agenda. We can talk.
I think it's 2 choices. We put the tennis net, or we could need 3 football courts. Another place where we can go in next. There's just a couple, so I would say we should probably put it on the agenda someday and say what we
Okay.
do. Because frankly, one thing that sounds like it's not gonna happen, like is that for a skateboard ramp up there. What we just got for that. We haven't heard a lot of complaints. Further with the usage, we covered for that.
Yeah.
If we did that, it would take out both tennis and pickleball. Or
Yeah. Well, we talked about repainting it too and taking away the other lines, making it dedicated tennis lines, which wouldn't have the yellow lines, which would make tennis happy. So, I mean, there are options. Even with the basketball nets there. Yeah, yeah. I think that would be a good discussion to have. Okay, I'll put it back on the agenda. My bad. Okay, so Cindy and I will work on a response. If it's okay with the committee on the questions that Howard has.
They did, but then I called, Dan Flay, and had to come out. Disagree.
Yeah, I just, they're pretty far back. The other thing that I don't know, I assume that it's just. Well, middle school tennis, because I know you can't do sanctioned, whatever the tennis association.
USDA cannot.
Right, wouldn't be able to do that.
Can't anyway, because we don't have reports. They have to have free run USDA.
And they might want to play pickleball this year anyway, so. Okay. Cindy and I think I've gotten the comment from the committee. Cindy and I will work on those questions. That's all right. I do want to go back very quickly to E. Oh, sorry. Any comments from the crowd here?
Okay, so you're doing pickleball first. Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead. You're going to E.
I know, I wanted to go to E because I want to stick with pickleball real
Yeah.
quick. And I think it's a quick one. which is, the pickleball league club has submitted their application and their fees to the town as of last week. So they are legit. And they're very much on board. They understand that's the process now going forward. So
Right.
I'm hoping that we have resolved that. Okay. So then I'll go down in order then, just skipping Zots for right now. C, discuss status of request to town council for the study session that we recommended. I did send it to Zarif with our request to be put on the town council agenda. I don't know if you know, but Zarif has been on vacation, not vacation. He took a 3-week extended leave to take care of a relative, which had been pre-planned before he took the job. So he has been behind in his communication. I have a meeting with him this Thursday, a one-on-one meeting, which I'm going to discuss multiple things, including this request. So I will get an update from him and explain our position, be able to explain our position, maybe in more detail to him at that point. So that is the status that I have for that. Any questions or? No?
I've received a question about it, so I just need to give the person an update.
Okay, yeah, that is the update.
Okay.
Just moving to I really quick, the Brown Act committee is also on my agenda to talk to him about. The town attorney has let him know that it's in his court to move forward. So I'm going to make our case for the non-Brown Act committee and hopefully be able to move forward on that. Maybe we should go to the dog park, because that was the other thing I was going to bring to his attention, is just our history with our desire to have a dog park in this town. Some of the history with, it was originally, in the plans for town center, got scrapped at that point. 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years now, we went through a rather extensive, some extensive work on this committee, John and myself primarily, to locate land, reach out to the other committees, get, fencing samples, other cities examples, blah, blah, blah. We eventually did not take it to the town council because we did not have support of other committees to make it go forward. But I think it continues to grow as a need for this community. There's a lot of interest in it. We all know there's rogue dog parks out there, at the town center, at the schools. We know that there is a situation that happened with the school this past 2 weeks, where a stray dog got into one of the gyms and bit one of the students. And so, yeah. So she's fine. The girl, not the dog. I don't know about the dog. So I think there's some tension now between the dog park people that are using the school fields and the schools. I don't know where that's going to end up, but I think all of this potentially leads to support, potentially more, for a dog park in this community, where dogs can be legally off leash, safely behind a fence, and other areas are not impacted. So I plan to bring that up with Sharif. And if you have any other comments or questions, or I'll gladly take them.
Well, not for Sharif, but Pulgus Ridge. I went to Pulgus Ridge, which is a Mid-Penn property that has a dogs off leash area, essentially a trail, and there's a split rail fence, and there's no gate. I mean, you go in through essentially an opening. So I've been a little busy with some other things, but I do plan on contacting Mid-Penn to see if we could do something. John, thank you for your suggestion, but we've been thinking that we needed everything really sealed up, and maybe there's a way that we don't. We'll explore that alternative because we're exploring everything we can. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to.
Okay, so that's the dog park. Parking at Rosati's and Ford Field. I reached out to Corey and asked her whether Rosati's is now paying for Ford Field. I did not get a response, so I need to follow up. I do not know the answer. That is still open. PB recreational facilities opportunities. I haven't really done anything on my end. For what, Rosati's availability, like parking?
They're in the major season. So this would be peak, I think. When they have and should.
So John, is that something you'd be willing to do? You have those contacts. That's
The other thing, you know, on that note, Mondays, you know, Zots is closed, and they do hold there's a lot of soccer going on there. I don't know what clubs or organizations it is, but I've been looking at the parking lot. And I would say there's 30 to 40 cars there down by the soccer field. They're holding a lot of the little kids. So when we're talking about how much parking we need for the soccer, you know, and saying at least 30 spots, I think it's very justified, if not more, because those cars are there for the soccer when the kids are there.
I agree. 30 spots is what we asked for.
Yeah, Patty, not to interrupt, but I couldn't hear anything John said. Maybe you could summarize.
Yeah, John just mentioned that now might be a good time to reach out to some of the youth soccer leagues and the people who use the Rosati's field just to see how the lack of parking is impacting them.
Oh, great, thanks.
Before we talked about summer, now it's mid-season.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next committee is coming in, so I feel a need to kind of wrap up. Is there any other questions that the committee had? Apologize for the short meeting, but we had technical problems at the beginning.
Congratulations on a successful town picnic. And
Yeah.
the top.
Well, and a Zots, then Zots. No, it was. Anybody need a hat? Yeah. You're welcome. Okay. Meeting adjourned.